Today is Wednesday, March 8th, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 44 Week 2.
This episode is titled Two Dorky Magnets, and that was spoken by Frannie.
You know what I really didn't like about this week's episode?
Okay, what's that?
It wasn't 90 minutes like last year. They had 2 hours, and then the next week was 90 minutes.
That's true.
And we only got 60 minutes.
A little bit of a letdown. So we're back at the Ratu camp there at night 3 after tribal council, and Brandon declares that was an interesting tribal.
Well, he kept his cool pretty good. But I really felt like he was going to be out for Kane, that he wasn't going to forgive that easily.
Mm-hmm.
He might be able to contain it, but he won't forget it.
You were talking about that a lot leading up to the episode, trying to decide if that was going to influence your pick or not.
Yeah, because I thought that tribe would lose, but I ended up, I debated going with Kane, but then I ended up going with Jaime because I thought, but I also could see ways Jaime could get around her kind of craziness at tribal too, so, but I went ahead and went with Jaime, so for me.
What did you think about Matthew's explanation? He said that went as good as it possibly could have gone for him. Best for me, he declares.
That's what I expected.
Certainly, we heard that in the listener feedback last week. There was, I forget who it was exactly, but someone had said pretty much this spot on, which was it was a strategic choice to not vote the whole no blood on my hands, you can't hold it against me, like that traitor Kane.
I kind of think that was part of what Jaime was doing too, is that she was so hysterical because she couldn't decide what to do and how it was going to, because they establish who's on what side at the first tribal by how they vote. And so I think that gave her an out too. Though I guess she could have genuinely been freaked out that it could be her, but anyway, she could have had some strategy behind it. But
Lauren announces, I'm the captain now. I've got 2 votes.
Please.
Bow down and observe my magnificence. She didn't exactly say that.
No.
But she announced to everyone that she had
She didn't even say anything like that, but
well, in her confessional, she said she has all the power now.
Yes, she did. That's far cry from...
I launched from there. I'm the captain now.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. That's what she said according to Stacy.
Kane declares that his vote for Brandon wasn't personal.
Yeah, it's pretty personal when you vote for.
Things went, it's hard to overlook at a minimum.
Yeah.
He declares in his confessional that things went poorly for him.
Mm-hmm. Very poorly.
Brandon said he was shocked to get that vote, especially from Kane. Kane's wondering if he can repair that relationship somehow.
Well, only time will tell.
Brandon lets us know that, yep, that did bug him. That vote did indeed, as you suspected.
He's going to play it cool, but he will not trust him.
No trust for Kane.
Well,
no soup for you.
I don't think I could trust him after that either. So
you can't trust anyone. You just got to figure out what's the best path forward at the time.
Yeah. Play it cool. Do what you need to do to carry on.
Changes minute by minute.
Because people want to vote you out if you're causing them to be uncomfortable in camp. So he's doing the right thing, I think.
Okay, we bounce over to Soka, now officially day 4, and Claire is telling everyone that she wants a pink puppy.
Okay.
And Matt said that, well, he had the best dog in the world. Claire won't be able to have the best one. But then his ex took it when they broke up. I like how they prodded for that little piece of information. Did you get the dog? No, it's not my dog, but it is the best dog.
Yep.
So she took that in my heart.
Yep, and she broke up with him.
Sad music. Cue the sad music.
Yep.
He recounts 2 no votes. So whenever he does finally get to go to tribal, he's going to whiff it 2 times in a row.
Yep, he said the game could not be going worse for him with no votes the next 2 tribals.
Except,
yeah,
he found a connection with Frannie.
Yep.
And Frannie snort laughs. So
yes, she does.
This is a special connection.
I can relate. Occasionally I snort laugh.
Matt even confesses to Frannie that he not only lost 1 vote, but he lost 2.
Yep.
Does it draw him closer? Maybe a little bit, until Heidi asked Frannie a very potent question. You think he's making those lovey eyes at you and then he's going to pull the rug out from under you?
Ooh, she's trying to set off a little chaos and paranoia.
She's planting a seed. Yeah.
Yep.
That one's not intended to act right now, but it does seem to have an effect. And Frannie tells Matt even, hey, we need to spend less time together. Although it didn't look like that worked.
Well, even Claire's concerned, you know, that Frannie's going to get hurt in this, you know.
Bad for Frannie.
So you should keep your distance. Well, it's a given with a showmance if you're seen. It doesn't even have to be a reality. But if you're seen as a power couple that will always vote together, you're just setting yourself up.
It's a louder threat. At a minimum, it's a louder threat.
Yes, very much so. And Claire seems to be afraid that Frannie's going to get hurt in that way. So I guess everybody seems to like Frannie.
Bounce over to Tika on day 4, and they're dividing up Bruce's stuff. Now, was Carolyn, using his tie to choke herself? What was going on with that? That was weird.
I don't know. I think she was probably just horsing around.
Okay. Well, they decide it's time to find the key. They're going to look.
Well, Helen does not like the idea of everyone looking because she's afraid that someone that she's not aligned with will get it.
Yeah. So we'll all go together.
Yep.
Everybody needs it.
No, they didn't quite go together, but...
And then the classic thing, I've been waiting years and years for this to happen, is for someone to put their hand, reach in somewhere, and it turns out there's something there waiting.
There's a snake.
And in this case, it was a snake, and Carolyn was up in the trees because she was having a good time climbing trees on Survivor, and sure enough, she found a snake.
Well, now I understand why she was hollering so much, but they did not show in the episode what they showed in the next on.
Right. They pulled back on her.
A lot louder.
They pulled back in the edit on her at this point. So
they are deliberately manipulating us.
Always.
For her to be the loud, obnoxious, and well,
there's the way
person.
She is, and then them pumping the brakes, and they definitely pumped the brakes.
Yes.
I mean, we got to see it all, but just not together. Yeah. And they were pumping the brakes on her more than once. I'm pretty sure this episode.
Well, I'm pretty sure she has to pump the brakes on herself pretty much all the time.
Yeah, but then it doesn't work. So the reality was she was making all those noises. They chose not to show them because there was a different story to tell this episode.
Okay.
Bounce over or back to Ratu. Kane's worried and he's out searching.
And everybody knows he's out searching for an idol.
While he's on his firewood
hunting adventure.
Yeah.
And he finds a crab, and they observe...
That was so funny.
Hey, look, he didn't have any firewood.
Yeah, he did. One of his hands was full of firewood.
Oh, was it?
What Matthew observed and commented on was that's not where you find firewood in a hole in the tree. Is that what he
was saying?
Yes,
okay.
You find other things there, but not firewood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I knew he proved to him that he was indeed looking.
Yes.
Which everyone, in my opinion, should be looking. So.
Speaking of that, we bounce back over to Soka. On day 4, it's a 2-day cycle. Day 4, day 5 with this episode, and Danny is out searching.
I'm pretty sure that Danny is high energy, so to speak, as well.
Well, that's what Claire was saying. Look, we don't have to trail him the whole time. We don't have to follow him everywhere. Let's take breaks, at which point they declare Claire the lazy czar. She's in charge of being lazy.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Danny ends up finding the key. And he tells us the secret is to keep it secret. Bravo, Danny. Good job, bud. And he gives us a little floss dance before we cut to commercial.
He says he's not telling. We'll see if he keeps
time
that
will tell, but he's got the right approach.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he found it. He put in the effort. Good job. And though I kept thinking, well, I'd make sure people were out in the water or out fishing or something like that before I would approach it. Or get up at night, like I had to go to the bathroom or something and go look for it. But anyway, it worked out for him.
What we don't really have a sense of is where is the idle bird cage in relation to camp and in relation to the well where the water is. If you had a little better sense of where it was, where those three things were in relation to each other, you'd have a better sense of what was possible. So bouncing back over to Tika, and they're still reacting to the snake, watching it climb through the trees up there. It's got people scared. Helen bugs out.
Carson wants no part of it.
Yeah, and Carolyn tells us that she's going to use that. She's not going to give up. She once dug through her son's poop for days trying to find a tooth he swallowed so they could do the tooth fairy thing. This is an example of the level of determination that Carolyn exemplifies. So she is indeed going to find that key, and
she does.
She does, exactly.
All right, back over to Danny, and he's got an idol plus a coin he said the coin has no power, but it's up to you what you do with it. So you can tell anyone anything.
And it's important to watch how he manages all this.
Okay, because here's the thing. If you go telling somebody, if you have something and you go telling them, oh, it said blah, blah, blah. Well, where's the note? Let me read the note. He's not going to have a note. So he might be a little bit creative in how he goes about that, because they know if you get a note, well, let me see it.
What did the note say? So he gets the cage set back up. Now, I think he put the fake back in there. Did you catch it or not if he did?
Oh, no, I didn't think he put the fake in there. I just thought he put the bag there. Though, as we found out with Carolyn, they should put something in there.
Yeah, because you can feel that something's in there. You can poke it with a stick, or if you can't reach it, I think
you should put a stick or something in there.
Someone was able to reach it
or
before.
Or a few little sticks, something.
Try
a few rocks.
Indiana Jones it matched the weight and whatever the previous feel was.
If you have time.
And then after Danny gets done with the cage, Claire and Matt drop by and take a look at it, and Claire declares that it looks the same. So as far as they're concerned, everything's copacetic.
So Danny did a much better job.
Yes.
Okay.
Back over to Tika, and Helen tells us that she's surprised that nothing was found. Meanwhile, Carolyn is struggling with a plan.
Yeah, because she's hyper paranoid and just sure everybody really knows.
Yeah.
So everybody except Carolyn decides to go for water together. Doesn't that seem odd that they all four went?
No, I think they're probably pretty used to not doing things with her.
Seems odd to me.
So Carolyn, in contrast to Danny, like you were talking about, ends up grabbing the bag, and she left the cage completely empty.
And unlocked, and ran away with everything. Stuffed it in her pants and went and lay down.
And then realized that was not the best choice. So she runs back over there and hastily puts the bag back in the bird cage and relocks it. And then Carson and the crew come back by, and he goes...
Well, she heard them coming, and when she walked away, it was swinging. And I thought, it's still going to be in movement when they get there.
That wasn't the thing that caught Carson's eye, though.
No.
He could tell that the bag was open where it hadn't been before.
Yeah, and it looked like an empty bag.
And he tells us, based on his extensive reading of FBI interrogation techniques, he will now proceed to determine which of the three that are with him were the ones that actually got the idol, because it couldn't possibly be Carolyn. And
I was surprised by that.
Arrives at Helen. Well, I guess Cuckoo's a good cover in the end, at least against Carson. How you like that? That's some
Yeah, but
alliteration
she
right there,
is
baby.
yeah, you're wonderful. I was so shocked by that. I was sure they would say, "Whoa, Carolyn was the only one that wasn't with us, and it
What's the
wasn't like they
dingbat been
were."
doing?
And
Yeah.
so, and not a one of them
Carson's superior interrogation skills.
determined that Helen was keeping a secret.
She's hiding something. She crossed her arms. It's body language. He picks up on these things.
You think that's why he eventually decided to go against her?
Could be.
That she was keeping a secret.
Could have played into it for sure. And Jam tells us, well, Sarah looks nervous. The four of them go back and decide
She has it.
let's dump our bags out. We'll make sure everybody knows. And Jam knows that women stuff things in their bra sometimes.
Yeah.
So
She touched her chest. She put it in her bra.
Yep. She's
got it.
signaling that
Yep,
it's hidden
yep.
and in her bra. And Sarah suspects
Jam.
Jam. Exactly. And Carolyn, meanwhile, reaches new levels of paranoid.
Yep. They suspect me. They all suspect me. It's like, no, they don't.
Actually, none of them, at least from what we were shown.
I wonder if she told Jam. I don't think she did.
You're getting ahead, but I think there's a good chance that might have happened.
Well, I didn't think she did. But okay, let's carry on.
Immunity challenge, day 5. The reward. Oh, it's
Immunity
also reward.
and reward challenge.
So there's the big fishing gear for finishing first, and the little fishing gear for finishing second.
Any fishing gear would be lovely.
Could be super beneficial for sure, especially when you're the first group of the two when they're filming back to back like that at these locations.
Okay, so Claire, of course, volunteers she'll sit out again. And what did you think when Jeff said, was that a tribe decision for you to sit out again? Or did you volunteer or what? And Claire's
he made her feel
both.
a little anxious.
Both.
Yeah, she answered both.
Yeah.
But yeah, he likes to bust chops for people who don't want to do the challenges because they put a ton of work into the challenges, and when you opt out like that,
And he wants to see you sweat.
he wants to see you work for
If
it.
she keeps sitting out, he probably will say more and more.
Yeah.
Till they go, you better get in there. Jeff's really not happy with you.
Doesn't matter as long as it's not me getting voted out.
All right.
So they're gonna have to climb up and get over a big obstacle. One side there's like rungs on it. It's a big A-frame, and the other side there's the classic net. You have to be careful with those nets. You can get caught up and hurt. But Danny had no problem with it. Just leaped the top of it completely.
And Matthew was right over.
Yeah,
First
it was
one.
interesting to see. First one for his tribe. He did not keep that sling on. So
Nope, he's trying to prove something to him. So I hope he didn't make it worse. But
So when they get over that first obstacle, they got to grab sandbags. They're looking for the sandbag that contains another smaller bag. So they got to lug the sandbag over to a specific square, and then they can untie it, empty it out, and they're looking for the bag that has a ball in it that they'll need for the last part of this.
Yep.
And Soka is doing really well right out of the gate. Danny finds this little bag with the ball almost immediately.
Well, and Carolyn found the ball for her
For
tribe.
Tika, yeah.
And then Jaime eventually found the ball for her tribe.
They were lagging a bit. So after you get the ball out of the sandbag, then you have to tilt up. You have to untie and then tilt up this really large, wide ladder.
Yeah, untie it and then push it up. And one person climbs up it.
Throws a rope down, and then the rest of the tribe pulls on that rope, which is attached
It's like a pulley system.
to a series of pulleys, which drops or is that raise or drops down a bridge.
It drops a bridge.
Yeah, and then that single person up there can cross the bridge, flip a lever, which will secure the bridge.
Yeah.
And the rest of the tribe can come. And then once they get down from there.
They slide down.
Yeah, it's a wooden slide.
Ah.
Yeah, it looked like it was hard because
I'm like,
Jim
who
had his
lost
shirt
skin?
off. Yeah.
Oh.
It looked like it was hurting him, yeah. And so they basically all get there. They're roughly
Yep.
even.
Yep.
Yeah. This is
Absolutely.
the last stage of it, and it's the classic
And Green had a fairly good lead, it seemed like, but
Prior to that, yeah, but then it draws even pretty quick.
Yes, it did. And so really they all pretty much started Josh for Soka. And then we had Sarah
for Tika.
And then Matthew performed for Ratu.
Yeah. And Josh starts off with some drops. Sarah and Matthew seem to be doing pretty good.
They were taking it way slower, but Josh kept trying to hurry, and then he dropped again, and then he dropped a third time.
Right.
So then I think he decided he better slow it down. That that wasn't working.
And then Sarah dropped, and from there Matthew went on.
Yeah, Matthew. We didn't see him drop.
I saw this in the commercials, so I went to watch some of the last time we saw it was in Winners at War. It was for one of those Return from Exile Island challenges, and then it was in David versus Goliath also. And you could tell when the people got the hang of it, a certain technique. And while I was watching, I kept thinking, geez, Matthew looks like those people who've already been playing this for a while. You know, he had it figured out. The finesse to it. He had it dialed in so well. So he ends up winning first. So the Ratu tribe gets the big fishing gear, and then it's Josh and Sarah facing off. And
we had no chance for a vote-off point.
Yeah, we both picked someone from Ratu to go. I had Matthew, you had Jaime.
Wrong tribe.
Wrong tribe, yes. And Josh ends up getting it, so Soka wins second to get the smaller fishing gear, and Tika is off to tribal council.
I loved it when he told Jeff, well, I built one in my backyard and I practiced it.
What did you think about that?
I knew I could do it. I think that it made me like him much better.
Yeah?
Yeah, I thought, oh, he is serious about this game.
Impressive.
He's not just out there to goof off and have fun and the experience. He also wants to play the game. So.
I like how he started. He said, I asked the tribe to trust me. I didn't wear this, I took the sling off. I chose to not go with medical's advice.
Go against medical.
Yeah, and I told him that I thought I could do it. And then he said the part about how he had built one at home and all that. And I thought, wow, that's a mistake. You should have kept that to yourself. There's nothing that screams, I'm a threat, than someone who will build a big cardboard thing. Like, what else did they do to prepare? How prepared is this guy in that regard? And I thought you could have done that in a confessional, but you wanted the kudos.
You wanted them to know. Wanted Jeff to know.
Yes. You wanted the kudos. You wanted the attention. You could have done it in a confessional and shared that, but you chose not to. So you wanted to win, and you wanted to brag.
Sometimes you're just excited, and you tell things.
He's clearly impulsive.
He might regret that later. I don't think it will hurt him at all as long as they're in team challenges. Now, people might remember that if they're going up against him, the people on his tribe at some point. But for now, they're like, hey, cool. If it helps us win, that's good for me.
Carolyn tells us, well, that started off feeling good, and then it all crumbled. And now she's scared, and she's wondering if she's going to have to play that idol.
And she tells us, I have not felt good on this tribe.
There's a reason.
Yep.
Yes. You had all the tools at your disposal to manage that, but you weren't able to bring them to bear on the problem. Okay, back to that Tika tribe. Day 5. Carson reckons that they got about 3 hours before they have to head to tribal council.
Yep, and he tells us about how he designs and
in a confessional
printed in 3D, a whole bunch of Survivor.
And he's got
puzzles.
No intention of telling everyone else about that.
No, and he doesn't want them to know, about what he's studying for and the whole NASA thing. So he just wants to go off his gut and play a good social game.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants everybody to think they're with him. And I think he did a pretty good job of that this time. Now, Helen thinks Carolyn can be out of control. She's hard to deal with. I think we should vote for her. So
pretty solid.
Well, it appeared that everybody jumped on board.
Totally agree with that. Lack of control like that
true.
means you're not going to ever be able to trust that person.
Exactly.
That poor impulse control will betray you. And they'll say, well, I was just being the true, authentic me. I'm sorry.
But you blurted out my secrets. And
Right.
so, no. And so Sarah has not told anyone that she does not have a vote.
Right.
And she plays that up pretty good. Now, I wonder if she didn't tell later on after things got going, but we don't know.
She knows that they need another vote,
revealed.
just to be sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they think they have, the three seem pretty solid, and they think they have Jam Jam to go with them.
Yes. Looks like it
And
might
I
be
thought
done.
so too, right up till he ran looking for Carolyn.
I thought we were headed for an idol showdown. She's going to drop the hammer on him because she's not going to be able to have an alliance with anyone. Little did I know, Jam Jam, it's like crazy knows crazy, he tells us. So he's good with that. They gel.
He's like, yeah, I got no problem with that.
And then he says, okay, make the letter in the alphabet for the first initial of the person you want to go. And they both make an H. So, reveal. So, yeah, they're on the same page. They both want to get Helen out because she's a threat.
She's too smart.
She's
And
strategic, always scheming.
Carson had just got done telling us how he didn't want people to know he was as smart as he is. And I guess that was a good thing because they didn't want somebody smart. So they wanted to get rid of Helen because they thought she's the smartest. And she is smart, but...
What did you think when Jam Jam went running after Carolyn to let her know that she was at risk?
I was very surprised. I really was.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be an easy peasy.
So what did you think when Carson came right after him? Even more surprised.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And then, even for the longest time, I wasn't sure what Carson was really going to do. And I thought, well, he could go with them. And if he knew that Sarah doesn't have a vote this tribal council, then you better go with them or you're in trouble. Because then it's just going to be a tie.
So that's the real question for us, right? Did Sarah reveal it?
Yes.
And to him, because we saw him talking on the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and we know it's preying on her. And that could go bad for you if you don't tell anyone. They made plans, and you're the reason that it backfired.
Yeah, it's going to come out, and if they had to go revote and do all that, and then nobody trusts it, it would just shake everything up. So I thought she'd be smart to tell him, but I didn't know if she'd be too afraid, thinking they may come after me.
I got no vote. Yeah.
I got no vote. I can't do anything else.
Hard to build an alliance with no votes.
Exactly.
When it's known. I did like one thing Jam Jam said when Jam Jam, Carolyn, and Carson were talking together, and Jam Jam described Carolyn as the goofy Cher, and I thought that's spot on. I thought exactly the same thing.
Goofy Cher?
Yeah, goofy Cher, because Carolyn does that Cher kind of sound with her voice, like where she's swallowing her voice when she's talking.
I liked very much so that Carolyn approached Carson again and said, what is the benefit to you to go with me? Mm-hmm. And I'm an easy vote for you, right? And he's like, yes. I think that really helped her to trust him. I think he handled it beautifully.
So he said, yes, but when has the easy vote ever worked?
On Survivor.
Yeah.
So I think he gave her something that she could go, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Of course, I liked it when she said, too, well, he's smart. I'm smart, too, but he's smart. And so she's like, why is he going with me? So he must have, because I thought there is no way that she won't play that idol. There's no way she'll have enough self-control from the paranoia to not play it. She's just going to have to play it.
How is she going to be able to fight that impulse?
Exactly.
It's going to be so strong.
But then to really see Carson go over, talk to Helen, give her a hug, and tell her how much. So he went over and made her completely comfortable.
Mm-hmm. That's what he tells us in his confessional. He's enjoying playing both sides.
Yep.
He's got Carolyn the devil on one shoulder and Helen the angel on the other.
He's the villain.
Which will he choose, the devil or the angel?
Yep. Well, I really didn't know.
Tribal Council, night 5. Probst asked Jam Jam what was the feeling back at camp after the challenge, and he said there was tension. Tension everywhere.
Yeah. And then Helen must have some feelings, because she's like, well, it could be this, but, on the other hand, what if I'm in my own delusions?
Yeah, he asked her about managing the fear, and that's when she was talking about, well, you think you got it locked in, then you see other people talking, and then you realize there might be another reality, so that fear does indeed creep in.
Whether it's warranted or not, it does.
He hits her with the classic strength versus alliance. How are you going to decide here that first tribal council vote?
Was a little bit surprised that she pointed out about we need to be strong, because they have to start winning challenges. So I thought, but you're kind of the smallest, probably least strong person in your tribe.
Right.
I don't think she saw herself that way, because she was extremely valuable on the puzzles. And that is important, and that is a definite strength. But I've just found it was odd, since that's why I wasn't sure she would make the merge. I liked her, but I just thought she'll come across as sharp, and she's not as strong as the others.
Yeah, these folks saw 41-42. They saw the threat that Erica represented, and here comes Helen saying, I want to play a game like Erica. And Sarah's got a slightly different twist on it. For her, strength, the trust equals strength, being able to trust. So that's just code for alliance, favoring alliance over physical strength. But that was her spin on it. And Carson says, yeah, well, we lost our strongest person, so the whole physical strength thing,
out the window.
we're hurting in that department.
And that we also have to consider the alliances. And
what do you think about this next sequence of It looked like Carolyn was about to break, and that she was probably going to start blurting stuff out. She gave that big exhale. Probst called her on it, asked her if she was scared, and she said a few things. And then Carson said, Jam Jam said, oh, she's like this all the time.
Yeah, she cries when the papaya's ripe.
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that, he says.
Happy that it's ripe.
Yeah, he gave her such an awesome cover. I think she was this close to completely blowing it and sharing everything, her internal struggle. And with what Jam Jam said, I think he helped her contain it a little bit there. Because she flipped it around and just was like, oh, it's just because I'm grateful. I'm just overwhelmed, and I'm grateful.
Yeah. He gave her a way to explain it. So
yeah, Probst didn't let go completely. He asked, oh, that sounds like there's a past tense in there. Oh, no, I want to stay, she said in response to the past tense question.
Well, what do you think Carson really wanted to convey when he had said, I try to have a filter, but I'm young and I know I'm not perfect at it yet? Why do you think he felt a need to say that?
Well, yeah, I don't know that we got that direct sequence that fed into that. That seemed out of place. He was talking about
considering alliances.
Yeah, he was trying to answer the strength versus alliance question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that kind of stuck out as...
Maybe he was trying to cut off some of the obvious, here, I'm the least valuable, I'm the youngest out here, I'm the most disposable because of that kind of thing. Maybe he was trying to head some of that off. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So it's time to vote. Carolyn goes in and starts kind of doing a little bit of a freak out about why there's so many pieces, chess pieces here. Whatever.
It's cluttered. Yes, it seemed to bug her a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
How many pieces were on the board?
15.
Yeah, we counted 15. Okay, that's how many castaways are left after this is over.
True.
Maybe there's something to it. We're watching the board. I wish I knew Stockfish. I would go input that to see if anything was different. I wonder if the positions changed that much from the previous week. Anyway.
Okay, the vote. 3 for Helen and 1 for Carolyn. So...
Blindside number 2. That hit Helen pretty hard.
It looked like she was really kind of heartbroken.
Yeah.
She said she had no idea and that they did a great job.
You can't go through that and be a fan Like, if you didn't care one way or another, you didn't really know anything about it, you'd been recruited to go out there.
Well, of course
you could let it slide off.
Going, especially that early.
Yeah.
And
when it means that much, it hurts that much more.
I want to see if they show anything at all about why were there only 4 votes.
Well, you expect you'll come back to that in the
Yeah, well, I'm hoping they will.
week
Sometimes
3.
they don't. They ignore it. But and it could just be that she did share that and said, "Hey, I'm on board with you guys. I don't have a vote, but I'll go with you."
But certainly, when the 3 are in, you don't need to show another one.
Nope.
So she might have slid through potentially.
Well,
with
there were 4 that showed up, so they could have thought Jeff doesn't always show it if it's already they can't be beat.
Right. Now, normally, they're very composed when they exit tribal council, and you usually see a portion of the walkout. Did you see what happened at the end of this one?
Nope.
Jam Jam was celebrating with Carolyn on the way out. They're not. I don't know that he talked, but they were making faces and smiling and looking at each other. They're supposed to keep all that toned down until they get back to camp.
Oh, please. Who are you talking about?
I know those two.
There's no
it's really
toning
hard.
them down.
Right.
They're not going to care. What are they going to do?
Yes.
I mean, come on. Jeff's always said, well, if you want to do something, don't ask. If you do it, then you do it. But if you ask, we may say no.
What did you think about the episode?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. Just we could have used more, like you said at the beginning.
Yeah, I really
would have been great.
liked more.
But this was a good one.
I was enjoying them going from tribe to tribe to tribe.
Yeah.
And I actually forgot that the challenge was coming up because I was like, oh yeah, more tribe to tribe to tribe. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Yep, information. And then it was like you said, oh, it's time for the challenge. I'm like, challenge? Oh yeah, challenge. I was all caught up in tribe to tribe to tribe. So I did enjoy that. And I think they crammed as much as they could into it.
Mm-hmm. Now, in hindsight, looking at it, you can see now why they were pumping the brakes on some of Carolyn's outbursts, and you feel like they probably didn't. They were showing a muted version of her this week because the story was more about her success and getting the idol, and then they might even be able to. She might even be able to leverage some misdirection that Helen might have left with it. But more than likely, there's some paranoia in Tika right now that they're going to have to deal with going forward.
So you're saying you think she didn't tell anyone about it?
Perhaps. I just can't imagine she could go very long without doing that. But
yeah, I kind of thought that it did cross my mind that maybe Jam Jam was trying to keep her from using it because they could use it later on.
Yeah, clearly there were discussions that they chose not to share with us so that we would have a more enjoyable tribal council.
So, but that goes through my mind nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Next time on Survivor?
Kane, I'm up against Dark Evil. Is that what he was saying?
Darth Evil? I'm not sure. I wonder if he was working some Star Wars into that.
I thought that's exactly why they should not give them a sword. Why are you playing with the sword around
they
camp?
knew someone was going to do that with it.
Yes.
That's why it's dull.
But
they showed a close up of it, and it's not sharpened.
It may not be sharpened, but it's
doesn't have a sharp
pointy
point. It's a blunt
metal
point.
object.
Oh, you can still get hurt.
You can still get very hurt with that. And you don't need to be treating it like it's a sword.
I couldn't tell exactly what he was saying. We tried listening multiple times, but it wasn't
Yeah, that's
clear.
what I thought he said. I'm up against
subtitles,
Dark Evil.
Yeah.
So,
and then he declares that he
whatever.
wants to be a hero.
I want to be a hero to people. Okay.
And then we get Matthew.
So you're going to be an attorney? I guess that's his idea of helping people.
Yeah, that's all depends on where you go with that for sure.
That would make me think firefighter or, one of those kind of policeman or...
I think he meant in the context of the game.
Yeah, I know, but I took it further.
Matthew tells us he never intended to play an honest game as Jaime, I think, was working on his hair.
Yep.
I don't know what that means in context, but take it and make of it what you will. And then Claire tells us that Frannie and Matt are a huge liability. I'm assuming that's who she was talking about.
It didn't say that.
Shown.
She just said there are huge liabilities.
No, she said they are a huge liability.
Oh, well, that's not what I heard, but we know my hearing's not so good.
Neither one of us are perfect in that department, so we'll have to double check.
Yeah.
And Danny tells us that he's like Peter Pan running through the woods.
Peter Pan would be flying through the woods, Danny.
Well, it's as close as Danny could get. Is what he does a
not doing
somersault.
somersaults. Yeah, I thought, oh my goodness. And do you think that Jam Jam actually fell, or was he trying to be Peter
Drama
Pan
club.
too? Yeah,
Drama club.
It felt more like drama to me.
Yeah.
I thought,
He was acting for somebody.
Yeah, it didn't look like he tripped or any of that. I thought
Either that
no,
or
I don't think he's hurt.
Possibly the
He's
snake
just
bit
playing.
him.
Yeah, no.
It could happen. Although I think that was a
could happen,
constrictor. It
but
wasn't venomous.
It doesn't matter. A snake is a snake as far as I'm concerned. I would be either the snake goes or I do.
What did you think now in hindsight? What's your assessment of Carolyn? How has it changed since before the game? Or has it?
Yeah, I don't think it's changed for me because like I've said all along, I had changed my opinion about her after hearing interviews and seeing that, she does have to have a different side in doing counseling. And I believe that she does. And I thought all along, they're just choosing how they want us to see her because that's very common on Survivor. Mm-hmm. And so I haven't changed.
Oh, okay. So I gotta admit, I'm more impressed with her.
Yeah.
Than I was initially.
She's very good in the challenges too. I like that about her too because she's performed well in the challenges.
No.
A lot of times, yes, she has.
She started out as a complete and utter failure in the challenges.
Well, she wasn't this week, and she's helped out in all the challenges.
She did better. She got through the basics this week.
What didn't she do well with?
You talking about this week?
No.
Oh, the ring. Trying to get the ring off the pole in the very first challenge?
You're right. That was a bust. But in others, she's not coordinated that way. And that obviously was a lot for her, and she just couldn't make it work. But in other challenges, like the immunity challenges, she's done well in both of those and seemed to carry her weight with that and moving pieces around. And
as far as I know at this point, she's got an immunity idol, and no one knows that she has it. So making it through that cycle,
impressive.
Given where I thought she was, I'm more impressed with her because of that.
Okay.
And if it turns out she really didn't tell anyone, even more so going forward.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just my take on it. Who do you think's going next?
Oh, goodness.
So they're only going to have 4 competing in the challenge. Soka's going to have to sit 2 people out. Someone will have to join Claire.
I don't know. They've got pretty good people, though. So they seem to just do well. It's this, I think we saw, no, we haven't seen any commercials for next week for sure. But,
oh, yeah, we did, actually. There's one that showed a water challenge coming up.
Oh, where they were jumping off.
Jumping off, grab a bag.
Yeah, grab a bag, and that's when Lauren belly flopped. Yeah. That's true. So,
that could cause
we
them
don't know if that's reward or immunity, but if it is, Lauren doesn't swim well, though.
Right. At least that's what it looked like when Kane was helping her in the first immunity challenge. So if Ratu ends up going to tribal, who do you think goes?
I would get rid of Lauren if it were me.
She's the captain now. She's got 2 votes.
Yeah, she's got 2 votes, but I know Brandon's after Kane, and I thought if they went to tribal this time, it would be so fresh that he would really want to, try to get him out. But
I don't think he would.
He shouldn't, but if they want to keep their strength, and especially if they lose again. So I would say it would have to be between Jaime and Lauren.
Yeah. And if she eats it really bad on the challenge, I could see that.
Yeah.
It's 2
That
votes
they could do
against
it.
4. And she's
Well,
gone.
and because if Jamie's doing Matthew's hair, he might want to keep around to do his hair.
There you go.
Man.
All right. That's our prediction.
Though
for
I
now.
do believe that Lauren is physically better in challenges than Jaime,
Well, we'll see with the water.
but not in the swimming.
Yeah.
So, and since that's the challenge, I would get rid of her just because she's telling them that, hey, I've got this, and but it's one extra vote, Lauren. There's 4 other people. Hello,
Yeah.
basic math. Your 2 votes does not outweigh their 4.
You get one person, now you can draw a tie and end up drawing rocks.
Yeah. You got to have 2 people
Yeah.
that want to go with you, and I'm not seeing that.
Yeah.
Unless Brandon really does want Kane. So then I could. But anyway, I'll go with Lauren.
Okay. How about a JSFL update?
I can do that. There are 3 people tied for first place with 11 points this week. That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
It usually doesn't happen that quickly.
Narrowed.
Yep, 12 people lost their USB. 86 people lost a safe point.
Whew, I was so close. I had Carolyn safe.
Congratulations to the 15 people who earned a vote-off point for Helen. For the side challengers, with 10, tied in first place with 10 points is Chris, Drew, Jeremiah, Randy, and Rebecca. With 8 points, Justin and Parker. With 7, Cold Mike, Lisa Ray, Robert, and Stacy.
Ooh, I got some company in the basement this
You
week.
do.
Welcome on down.
So, hey, at least you didn't have a 3-point week, so that was nice.
Potentially, it was a
And
little
me
bit
either,
of a
so.
little bit of a nail biter there.
Yes, it was. I didn't have any. I knew I was getting my 4 safe because none of them were on that tribe.
I honestly believe I deserve extra points for having Carolyn safe and pulling that off, but that's not actually in the rules.
That's not in the rules, is it?
That should have been a Super Bowl bonus there for me.
For you.
Good deal. Well, we're looking forward to hearing what you thought about week 2, how you think Carolyn's doing. What did you think about Danny finding the idol and how he managed it compared with Carolyn? And who's in jeopardy going forward? If you'd like to join us in the next listener feedback, you can call and leave a voicemail at 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. You can always record your own audio. That's usually how you get the best quality, and then attach it to an email, or you could type it up and we'll read it into the show on your behalf. The email address is joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in the 3-minute range so we can get everybody in. I forgot to mention last week, Paul did just a fantastic job with the roster. The advantages are there, so you can see that Sarah's got no vote and the inheritance advantage on hers, and Matt's got the -2 votes, and we
Lauren's
can see
got an extra vote.
And you can see, too, that both Jaime and Matthew on the Ratu tribe have used their shot in the dark. So he's got a minus SID up there to show that in the
Ooh,
the
I
bottom
didn't even
corner.
see that.
Yeah, so he's got it just packed with
missed it.
information.
Well,
Good stuff.
one other thing to think about and ponder on is who in the world is Danny aligned with, because he's always off playing by himself.
I don't know that they're going to be tested. I'm not
Well, not if
expecting
they
them to
keep
lose a
winning,
whole
that-
lot. Yeah. They're going to be the group to beat. Tika and Ratu are going to have to align to take them on. That's probably what's going to happen. They're going to get chewed up, and Soka's going to come in strong to the merge.
I just don't remember seeing a whole lot of people talking to Danny a lot. Of course, they they choose what to show us when it's relevant or not relevant. So they could show us later on that could be the case. But what they're showing us right now is he's always tootled off doing something on his own. And
they don't seem to be too terribly concerned about it either.
No.
Well, that backfired, and they all learned that this week.
Well, they at least were aware that he was out looking. Mm-hmm. And Claire said from the get-go that she wasn't planning to expend any more energy than she needed to out there. And so I can understand that Claire didn't feel a need to follow him around, see what he's doing, just let him do whatever. But they are at least watching.
Yep.
But Matt and Frannie are just focusing on themselves and having fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Josh is doing around camp. Don't see him a whole lot.
He's not being featured other than in the challenges.
That probably means they're going deep, Josh and Danny.
Could be. Soka looks like they've got a good chance at it at this point. Well, we're looking forward to hearing what you're thinking about how the game is progressing and any predictions you might have to help us ponder our choices in JSFL and as we get together and share and look forward to the next episode.
All right.
Have a good one.